On a quiet October night in 1994, in the small town of Union, South Carolina, a young mother made a desperate plea that captured the heart of America. Her 2 young children had been ripped from her car at gunpoint by a mysterious stranger. For 9 agonizing days, the nation watched, prayed, and searched. But behind the tears and the TV appeals lay a secret darker than anyone could imagine. This is the story of Laureen Smith, a tale of betrayal, deception, and a mother's unthinkable choice. Laureen Smith was born Laureen Lee Vaughan on September 26, 1971, in Union, South Carolina. From the outside, it looked like a typical Southern upbringing. But behind closed doors, tragedy struck early and often. When Laureen was just 6 years old, her father took his own life. The loss shattered the family. By age 13, Laureen herself attempted suicide. Her mother soon remarried to a local businessman named Beverly Russell. What should have been a fresh start became something far more sinister.
Years later, it was revealed that Russell had molested Laureen during her teenage years. Both have admitted that an inappropriate relationship continued well into her adulthood, even up until just months before the horrific events of 1994. After high school, Laureen's life continued its turbulent path. Another suicide attempt followed a failed affair with a married man. She married a local man named David Smith in 1991, and together they had 2 young children. On paper, it seemed like stability. In reality, Laureen was struggling with deep emotional wounds, depression, and a desperate longing for a different life. October 25th, 1994, started like any other day for Laureen Smith. But by evening, everything changed. Laureen pulled up to the Union police station in a panic. She claimed a black man had carjacked her 1990 Mazda Protégé at a red light. According to her story, the armed stranger jumped into her car, forced her to drive, and then ordered her out, taking off with her 2 young children still strapped in the back seat.
She described the man in vivid detail. Mid-30s to 40s, wearing a plaid shirt, dark pants, and a knitted cap. Her emotional TV appeals soon followed. Tearfully, she begged the public, "Please don't hurt my babies. They're all I have." America was hooked. Vigils were held. Volunteers searched woods and back roads. The story dominated national news. But from almost the very beginning, seasoned detectives had doubts. Something about Laureen's story didn't add up. Investigators immediately noticed inconsistencies. Laureen claimed the carjacking happened at a specific intersection where the traffic light turned red. But traffic engineers confirmed that light would only change for oncoming traffic. There were no other cars reported in the area that night. How could the light have turned red? Polygraph tests raised more red flags. Detectives grew convinced Laureen knew more than she was saying. By day 2, they were quietly dragging nearby lakes and ponds, including the dark waters of John D. Long Lake. Initial searches came up empty because divers focused close to shore. But the car, with the children still inside, had rolled much farther out, 122 feet from the ramp. The pressure mounted. Laureen's ex-boyfriend, a wealthy local man named Tom Findley, became central to the puzzle. Just days before the disappearance, he had written her a letter ending their romance, specifically stating he didn't want children in his life. On November 3rd, 1995, 9 days after the reported carjacking, Laureen Smith finally broke. In a tearful confession, she admitted the truth.
She had driven to John D. Long Lake, put the car in drive, and let it roll into the water, with her 2 young children strapped in the back seats. She stood on the shore and watched as the car slowly sank. Her stated reason? A desperate desire to start a new life free of the responsibilities that stood in the way of her relationship with Findlay. Though she later claimed she wasn't in her right mind and had intended to kill herself too, but couldn't go through with it. The trial of Lorraine Smith in 1995 became a national spectacle. Defense attorneys painted a picture of a deeply troubled woman, overwhelmed by depression and trauma. They argued Lorraine had driven to the lake intending to end her own life along with her children's, but at the last moment, her survival instinct took over and she jumped out. Expert witnesses testified to her mental health struggles, including dependent personality disorder and major depression.
Prosecutors saw it differently. They argued this was cold, calculated murder, a mother willing to drown her own children to pursue a romantic fantasy. After just 2.5 hours of deliberation, the jury found Lorraine Smith guilty on 2 counts of murder. In the penalty phase, the jury spared her the death penalty. She was sentenced to 2 concurrent life terms, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Lorraine Smith was first sent to Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution. In 2000, 2 correctional officers were charged after reports of sexual misconduct with her, leading to her transfer to Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood, South Carolina, where she remains today. Her first parole hearing came in November 2024. It was denied. The case left an indelible mark on American true crime. It inspired episodes of shows like Law and Order, moments in Arrested Development, and several songs. It also fueled difficult conversations about mental health, media frenzies, and the dark extremes of human desperation. To this day, the waters of John D. Long Lake hold their silence, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't strangers in the night. They're the ones we trust the most. What do you think drove Lorraine Smith to such a horrific act? Was it mental illness, selfishness, or something even darker? Tell us about any stories like this you think need investigation. Like and subscribe to Dark Whispers channel for more.